Let's turn our attention to China now and the COVID outbreak that is bringing its largest city to a standstill. Shanghai now extending its lockdown to cover the entire city after imposing a two-phased lockdown restricting the movement of 25 million residents there. Let's bring in our very own Anjalee Khemlani, who's tracking the very latest there. And Anjalee, we also got some updates on the extent of the outbreak and the number of infections Shanghai has seen.
That's right, Akiko. They recorded a record number, 9,000 cases on Saturday, and that's a record high for the country, which did a good job in 2020 of sort of clamping down on the spread with that lockdown in Wuhan. And they're hoping to replicate that now in Shanghai, putting the entire city under lockdown, extended the western part of the city's lockdown, and then bringing in the eastern part of the city once again into a strict lockdown until further notice. 80% of cases in China are now attributed to Shanghai. We've seen military personnel deployed to help with the ongoing mandatory screenings, about 2,000 military personnel, as well as 30,000 medics to the area. So that really painting a concerning picture for the large city and really testing once again, as you've frequently noted, China's zero tolerance policy and the impact that it's going to have on the economy.
Anjalee, as a follow-up here, I want to ask about the COVID relief bill that's moving down in Washington, D.C. Would be about $10 billion in size, perhaps smaller than perhaps the Biden administration would have liked. What's the update on that?
That's right. It was a bipartisan deal in the Senate, $10 billion now for testing, vaccines, therapeutic developments, and the distribution of all that. But it is less than half of what the White House had hoped for. $22.5 billion was the original pitch, and that included about $5 billion for international aid, which is now not going to be in this plan. This is solely a domestic funding plan, and that is something that Congress has said they're likely to pursue the international part of it later in the spring, likely tied to Ukraine aid, which is really concerning for a lot of healthcare experts, because we know, as we're seeing in China with the the development of certain variants, we're seeing in UK the XE mutants, and others are going to continue to develop and transmit throughout. We're also waiting, of course, for the booster discussion tomorrow with the FDA. So all of this is really actually tied together, even though it doesn't seem like it, and is a concern when it comes to where this funding will go and how it helps really curb the pandemic. Congress is set to adjourn next Friday, so action needs to be taken before then.